Words about books, Ben.
It's Words about books, Nate.
I guess it's a really bad episode, but to do this in, but I mean, it happened today, so I have to shout out that my wife got her doctorate.
Nice.
She doesn't listen to this podcast. She's definitely not listening to this episode, so she's never going to hear this.
So
and
she outranks you now, as I understand.
I only communicate to her. No, I'm president of the company, Ben. So
no, I think
I still outrank, and I have 2 degrees, so 2 is more than 1. So that's how that works.
Is one of them a doctor?
It's a postgraduate certification.
Yeah, that's I'm hearing a lot of not doctors. So basically, what you're saying is, your daughter's just.
I'm still number 1.
Nate.
Yeah, quantity over quality, Ben.
Yeah, I'll be in our D&D games. I'll be deferring a lot of my questions to Caitlin, or yeah, we can say Caitlin because she's on the D&D game. Like, do we say her name on this? Yeah. So, I'll just be deferring to her because, I feel like I deserve a doctor.
Yeah, that's fair. That's the important thing. Is that you have a doctor.
That DR just really makes me feel comfortable. Whereas you're like a mister. That's like a guy at the bus stop giving me advice.
Yeah. I would too. Sitting at the bus stop, giving out advice.
You should.
You deserve.
I don't know if people get that. It's a very specific campaign to not allow nurses to practice under their own license. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a very specific campaign by people who want money. There was a post about how a nurse practitioner was holding down a rural ER department, and the doctor was like, "That is unacceptable. That's so dangerous. They need to shell out for a doctor." And it's like, but if it's safety, why don't you just take the nurse's salary and go hold it down? Since that's what this is about, right? This isn't about you just wanting to protect your job and your livelihood. You notice how, for the most part, neurosurgeons aren't part of this "you deserve a doctor" campaign because they don't give a shit. Because they know they're secure. They know that no one can just walk in and do what they do. Doctor was over here like, yeah, some random guy, like a patient, was like, yeah, I don't really need a doctor to tell me when I have a sinus infection. And the response was like, that is so ignorant. Your sinus infection could be 5 other different illnesses, and you need a doctor to tell you because a nurse practitioner doesn't have the training. Maybe it wasn't a sinus infection because one of the differentials was like dengue fever. It's like, I think we could spot that one.
Bringing this up is how I avoid having to talk on the podcast. I just mentioned this, and then I go get a sandwich, and then I'll come back, and we'll be on dengue fever.
Well, Ben, the alternative is talking about Thrawn.
Yeah.
The Thrawn Ascendancy, the greater good.
Yeah. I didn't read this one. For a couple of reasons.
You're really slow on reading the Odyssey. I don't know how. It was only like 150 pages, Ben. I don't know how you're having such trouble, but
I was like, why didn't we read the Iliad? And then I bought the Iliad.
Oh my god. Yeah, it would be a 5-parter.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll do it. So I didn't read this one because I was busy reading the Odyssey, because I actually read the Odyssey. And
me too. Me too.
Even tried after I finished the Odyssey to catch up and read this, but you actually put the wrong book on the schedule.
I put Lesser Evil, which is the 3rd book of the series, on there.
Probably wasn't a good sign that I did not notice I was reading the 3rd book and not the 2nd book. I got a good
Yeah.
65 pages in.
Yeah, because you read the other trilogy out of order, and you were at least like, what the hell is Vader talking about here? Thrawn messed up a battle or something? No.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I started reading it, and well, the problem is it's all flashbacks. Like
there's a
half of the book
lot
is
of flashbacks
flashbacks,
in
so
this book. They're
it doesn't matter.
flashbacks to the main villain, or sorry, the secondary villain, but he's the main villain of this book, and it's him. He has both present day and flashbacks, Ben, but it's for the same plan.
Oh,
Like he's enacting a plan, but we need to see how he got here.
I do
Have you ever
think.
thought like you're seeing a James Bond movie and like you're like, but how did that bad guy get all that uranium? And then like we get an hour long like flashback of like the bad guys making illegal purchases in like Eastern Europe, and then he's got this enrichment facility, and it just goes on like that for an hour, and then James Bond kills the guy and we're done. Like that's what this felt like, Ben. I don't care where the bad guy got all of his enriched uranium. You can tell me that. You don't actually have to show me that. I, like there is a this is too much showing, not enough telling. A rare problem.
Yeah, I don't know. Timothy Zahn. Sometimes I really like him. Sometimes
Oh God, yeah.
I'm really bored by him. But I it's always these Star Wars books, and I never know how much to blame Timothy Zahn.
Well, he did really well with the original canon Thrawn trilogy, and he had some really good moments, and we liked the last book of the Legends Thrawn trilogy. But if you recall, you did not read it, but I read the Hand of Thrawn duology, and
Yeah,
there were like 20 point of view characters, and you're just like, how and why does any of this matter? What's Lando doing in the ass end of nowhere with Card? And Card has an old smuggling contact that he's reaching out to, and they're gonna stop an invasion of the planet. And there are these clone troopers, but they just wanna be farmers now, so they're gonna help Han and Leia. And then it just goes on and on and on and
but I think I
on.
even said it in that episode. Though, is how much of that is Timothy Zahn's fault? Does Timothy Zahn decide which characters are going to be in
Yeah,
this novel?
exactly. I don't know. I wonder if he has a little more leeway now, or I don't know. There's not
Honestly, I
much to this
wonder.
book if it were just Thrawn.
I do sense a little bit of stretching. I do sense that maybe we needed another trilogy and there was really only another book.
Disney would never stretch to make a trilogy, Ben. How dare you?
Never.
They've never not planned out a trilogy before.
Not in this day and age. Do you know how refreshing it is to go into the deep past and the Odyssey? Now I know it was technically 24 books or whatever, but to have that all just packaged as one thing called the Odyssey, like
Even the parts where it's run out of steam and we're just like, why are
it
we still here?
it, it does feel like, that maybe it's a tale as old as time, Nate. Maybe people have been stretching. Maybe Homer the blind poet got to the end, but he had like a 3-week speaking engagement, and so he was just like, and then Odysseus went to see his dad, and his dad was real sad. And I'm gonna tell you how sad that dad was. And yeah,
Well,
it's
he's
just
blind, so he doesn't realize that his audience got up and left.
he can smell him.
He can smell.
Oh God. Well, I don't know. Do you want
All
to jump
right.
into it? I'm
Yeah,
not going to do the about the author. For anybody who doesn't know, if this is your first ever Words About Books episode, we talk about Thrawn every year. We started the podcast with a Thrawn book, and we have promised to end the podcast with a Thrawn book. I hope Timothy Zahn doesn't die before we end the podcast.
We'll have to hold one in reserve.
Oh, you know they're going to keep writing Thrawn books anyway. So
Yeah,
yeah, we're obligated to do.
He's the next big villain of it's not Mandalore, it's not Rebels.
Are you sure it's not? It's not
Ashoka. Ashoka
Oh.
season 2, which I guess is a thing.
Wow.
Thrawn is going to have his heir to the Empire arc.
I didn't even know Ashoka was a show. So I guess
I didn't even know it was getting a season 2. All I knew is that there were people who were posting online that they couldn't follow it, and then there were Star Wars fans, the greatest fans on the planet, by the way, who were posting memes about like, you're going into Ashoka without watching 5 seasons of Rebels and 3 seasons of Clone Wars and also all the movies and also all of The Mandalorian. Idiot.
Well,
you should have gone into Ashoka after watching 400 hours of other shows, dumbass.
Joke's on you, because I'm not going into Ashoka. Now, I guess for anyone who hasn't been with us for years and years and years, we have a complicated relationship with Star Wars. We read one of these books every year. We don't really respect Star Wars anymore. I think that's just fair to say. Like there's going to be a lot of negative emotions. So you might want to, if you were just Googling or if you were just searching on YouTube for somebody talking about this book and you came on this podcast and you're like, oh, I'll listen to these two idiots, you're probably not going to like it. It might
if
not
you
be
really
for
like
you.
this book, you're probably not going to like this.
Yeah, it might not be for you. This one's for us. This is something we need to do for ourselves. It's the ritual magic that keeps the podcast mediocre. So
yeah,
it has to be done. You don't have to listen to it. It just has to be done.
You have to listen to at least the first, what is it, like minute? So we get the view.
Oh, if they've made it this far, they're good. You can shut it off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can shut it off now. You've already contributed, so we got it.
Yep. See you not next week, but maybe the week after.
Do we do an opening crawl, Ben?
I've
got an opening crawl.
I'm not gonna sing or anything. So.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do the singing in post. I got you.
Good.
So, Star Wars, Thrawn, Ascendancy, the greater good. Hey, remember General Yiv from the first book? Well, that guy's gone now, and he and the Nick Ardoon are getting mopped up by Thrawn. But unbeknownst to Thrawn, Yiv was being manipulated by a Grisk, but we don't know it's a Grisk, and we won't know it's a Grisk until next book. But if you already read the other books that came out before this, where Thrawn is in the Empire, you know it's a Grisk. Anyway, this Grisk is named Jixtus, and he's got a plan where he's going to have another guy go enact a plan, and he's going to enact a plan. The wheels are in motion, and he just keeps adding speed to that wheel, and you would not believe how in motion this plan is.
This doesn't
will our heroes save
of an
the
opening
crawl? And at the end of the opening crawl, it's one of those what is it, like ASCII 3, where it's just a guy shrugging like I don't know.
So can I tell you where the third book apparently opened up?
Oh, good. Yes.
I think he's still looking for this guy.
Yeah. Jixtus is the villain of the trilogy, Ben. He's going to come in and go head to head with Thrawn in the final book.
This is why I didn't know I'd missed an entire book, because the first book ended with the navigator or whatever realizing that there was like another guy behind the guy, because it's Star Wars and there's always a guy behind the guy.
Yeah.
And then Thrawn was looking for that guy. And then there
Yeah.
were a bunch of flashbacks to when Thrawn got recruited. And Thrawn's biggest weakness, or
Is
his,
politics.
it's politics. He's not very good at that. And he's also not able to explain to anyone how the art thing works. Which I really feel like if we just got Thrawn a podcast mic and we were just like, just try to describe it for hours at a time. You don't have to make sense. Just podcast. I think we'd get there. I think I listen to a lot of podcasts about where it's just a douchey art nerd trying to describe things he likes or hates.
Yeah.
It's kind of my genre.
But no, Ben. No. Uh, let's see. So yeah, after that last book, Thrawn has successfully defeated Yiv the Benevolent of the Nicardoon. That's important because they're going to show up from time to time in this book to act as, like, the putties from Power Rangers, basically them. But flashback to memories, Ben. Jixtus, who is the Grisk, but you don't know he's a Grisk because they never call him a Grisk, but you know he's a Grisk because this book came out after the other books. He's got like a veil on his face and he talks in a really deep voice, and he also appreciates art or music or something. I don't know, he's supposed to be like a James Bond alien villain. He is overseeing the destruction of a world that has been torn asunder by violent civil war, and he's got a guy here named Hapleaf, who is arguably the main character of this book, but he's not as marketable as Thrawn. So Hapleaf is like, all right, I did my job. I got this planet to kill itself. We cool. I'm retiring now. And Jixtus is like, how about you go double or nothing? I got another job for you if you're interested.
Take a shot at Earth. It's already halfway there. It just needs one good push.
And Hapleaf is like, you son of a bitch, I'm in. What's the job? Well, General Yiv, he's going to fail to defeat the Chiss Ascendancy. So you are going to enact a plan to defeat it. And you have to be ready to go by the time he inevitably fails. And this is in a flashback, so Yiv has not yet failed. So this is a flashback to the first book in a different part of the galaxy, Ben.
I'm following.
And Hapleaf is like, well, General Yiv, he's just like a hammer, right? He's just military force. I specialize in political destruction.
Oh no, Thrawn's not good at that.
Yeah, he probably turns to the camera and winks like, see, this is going to be a problem for Thrawn because Thrawn doesn't know anything about politics. If we ever actually met in this book, he might have a problem defeating me. But we never meet in this book.
To
Spoilers.
Timothy Zahn's credit, it is not uncommon in Star Wars books for the main cast to have no idea what's going on or why they're doing anything. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm getting messages from work, and all right. So what about Timothy Zahn?
Oh, I was saying that in Timothy Zahn's defense, that it is traditional in a Star Wars novel for the main cast to have no idea what's going on or why they're doing any of the things they're doing.
Yes. Luke, Han, and Leia, none of them ever met Thrawn. And in the first book with Thrawn, they didn't even know he existed until near the end.
Yeah.
So
and that worked pretty well.
They did fight an evil space wizard again.
Sabaoth. I know his name's Sabaoth. but
I think they
that's not how
chucked a
you spell
rock at
that.
him. Or he
Look,
chucked a rock at them. I can't remember.
it's the Force. A lot of people throw a lot of stuff with their mind, but I know it's spelled. It's spelled, and I'm going to say this every time we talk about Thrawn. C apostrophe Baoth does not spell Sebaoth in any language that has been Romanized.
Well,
I don't
that's
know
why this is an
how.
alien language, Ben.
No, not even then. There is no
Cor-
language in this or
Coruscant.
any universe.
Coruscant?
Coruscant. Coruscant's a little bit better, but Sebaoth is inexcusable. Timothy Zahn. That's some Cthulhu shit.
All right. So they're also talking about the end of the last book and like refugee ships, and I started taking notes and then I got confused, and let me just be clear. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Thrawn is going to find his way into finding a doomed civilization, Ben.
Okay.
They're on a refugee ship, but not the one from the first book that was destroyed, but a different one with the Pakash on Rapak. These are names I recognized, and I was like, who are these people? What is all of this? And they did not re-explain it to me. I know these books were written and published within, I think it's like 6 to 8 months of each other. That's a long time to have to keep that knowledge in your head. I read it a year later, and I'm like, maybe some of this stuff, I don't know. I don't know.
This is for somebody who's marinated in Star Wars.
Yeah, they're all slimy and smell a little bit. Yeah.
No, I mean, they're watching all the shows, they're reading all the books, not just these books.
They're
reading
calling
the
you a
comic
loser for
books.
not watching all the other seasons of other shows before you get into Ashoka, you idiot.
They're editing entries on Wikipedia. They're updating the Pakash article as we speak. They know exactly what this is. It's not
Yeah,
for
this
you.
was an audiobook too. So I had to try and spell these. I spelled it Pakosh, but I think there's an apostrophe there. I think I think it's P apostrophe Kosh. So yeah,
Well,
or it's AASH. I don't know, man.
they have two sister species because it's actually they're from Chiss space as you travel towards the galactic core, you run into the Osh, the Pakash, and the Gosh.
The gosh, golly gee is their home world.
Oh no, I think it's the
So
Gosh first. It's Osh, Gosh, Pagash. Osh. I've lost the joke now.
I think that the Rapak were the people who turned on Yiv, or they were the refugees that started the last book's events. Anyway, Thrawn is sent on a mission out there because Thrawn has a guy in the Syndicure, their political senate.
They really do just need to call it a parliament and stop trying to invent a different
Yeah.
word for each species. But yeah.
Well, this guy is Thurfian. He's part of the Myth family, and he hates Thrawn. He's like, that Thrawn is reckless. He's going to destroy our entire way of life as well as also our family. Hate that
Loose
guy.
cannon, Thrawn.
Let's send him off on a mission to just go away, right? He can't possibly fuck up things if he does that.
Okay, listening back to this, even I'm kind of getting confused. This is Ed or Nate, by the way. Thrawn is going to be sent to the ass end of nowhere, but right now he is supposed to be cleaning up the Nickar Dune, and also he is going to get roped into this weird mission that isn't really a mission to go stop a race from unaliving itself.
So he's gonna go render aid to the Pakash or Rapak, or maybe the Pakash are on Rapak. But then there's a refugee ship there that was hidden from Yiv. It's Wingali and she's the magus of magus, the magus of her species. Ben,
That's
their
such a strange
world.
rank.
She's like some sort of like spiritual leader, and their world has been ended. There is a massive civil war, which, if you connected the dots, might be the civil war from a few chapters ago that was destroyed by the Grisk
Oh dear.
and Hapleaf. But she's like, and she talks like this, and it's really fucking annoying. Ah! And so,
What's her name? Ferngully?
Except not as animated. Wingali.
Okay.
She's talking about how their people are all going to die. There's not enough left of them. There's like 300 on this ship. That's it. We went to get help, but everyone's dead. And I want to do some good old-fashioned ritualistic suicide. And Thrawn's like, now hold on, why don't we like go check out your planet first? And she's like, I really kind of want to do the ritualistic suicide, you know? Like,
I mean, look,
we're going to join hands in the Beyond, which is the Force, but we call it the Beyond because we're not in galactic space, you know. We're in the chaos, Ben.
Well, they're in
so we gotta call it something differently.
They're in the uncharted regions.
Yeah, called the chaos. Uncharted because it's so chaotic with all the weird hyperspace lanes and whatnot. Anyway, we're gonna all ritualistically die, and
look,
then
there's fewer mountain gorillas than there are of these people. We're still trying to save them. Don't do it.
Well, yeah, but you know, I wanna. Anyway, if we do this, we'll join hands in the Beyond and we'll be able to restore our planet. And Thrawn is like, I don't know what the fuck she's talking about.
You're the Marshall Applewhite of this species.
And then Thrawn, you remember Thalius, the navigator who then became a handler or a nurturer or whatever you call it, and Cheery, the Skywalker, the kid who's force sensitive. Well, anyway, she's like, wait a minute. This lady over here, this Thalius, she's touched the Beyond because she used to be a Skywalker. And she's able to convince Wingali G, don't kill yourself. Let's at least go look at your planet first to see if it's salvageable. And so she's like, all right, but I make no promises that I won't ritualistically kill myself and everyone in my species later.
Does everyone in your species agree to this?
Yes. I'd
like to hear it from them.
They all look really concerned. And it looks like they don't want to do it, but they would do it if ordered to do so.
Yeah, that's not. I'll tell you what, Ferngully, you first, and then everybody else will meet you in the Beyond in like 5-10 minutes.
It's the Family Guy skit with Ava Braun and Adolf Hitler. You first.
Oh, geez.
So there's also a long-running side plot with Samacro. That's Thrawn's second in command. I wrote a note that said, I'm struggling to remember everyone, but I'm pretty sure that's his second in command. Samacro thinks Thalius is some sort of plant or spy, so he's feeding her some false information. That way, when that information shows up in the Syndicate on some report, he'll have proof that she's a spy, trying to meddle with the ship and whatnot. Ben,
solid plan.
She's not a spy, not a spy. She is not a spy.
I mean, that's the kind of thing that it makes sense for that character to do. I don't know if it's the best use of page time to go into things that don't matter. Unless it does matter, like unless his sabotaging her causes problems down the line.
Yeah. And Smackro doesn't like this plan of like, wait, we're going to break off from Admiral Aralani's fleet to go to this other planet. And he's like, yeah, it'll be cool. She okayed it. You remember Admiral Aralani.
Yeah,
She's got
I
a
do,
task
because
force of 3 ships, one of which has Thrawns, and one of which has Lakinda, Ben. She's a somewhat important character here. Lakinda.
I actually do remember her.
Yeah. She was also in the other book that you didn't read, the one that came after the Darth Vader Thrawn buddy cop book.
That was really the peak of this whole series. Possibly the franchise.
They should just adapt that into a show. Like Darth
Honest
Vader
to
and Thrawn going across the universe, buddy cops.
Honest to God, Vader in a buddy cop thing is amazing.
Threatening to choke someone for
just
they've got such a
great like good cop bad cop routine. Like Vader's always just throwing people up against a wall. I mean, he's a literal Nazi. Like, and then you got somebody in there to like even him out and let Vader like begrudgingly do the right thing sometimes. Like, it writes itself. Timothy Zahn struck gold there. They should have let him do more with that.
All right, Ben. So now we're on Selwys. God, what is this guy's name?
Is Selwys their abandoned planet?
No. We are now following different characters, Ben.
Oh, well, you got to say that. When you say we are on Selwys, I assume you mean.
Well, I was about to bring up who we were going to, and then I fucking can't find their names, Ben. Hold on. Boy, what is the name of? Let's see. Lackfro is the name of the farmer. I will probably just
really
refer to him
ironic
as the farmer.
if he had an afro.
Lakuviv. Oh no, Lakuviv is the second in command here, I think. Lakuni is a different guy. Hold on.
Isn't that the snake people in Diablo 2? Are they the cat people?
Oh no, it is Lakuviv. Okay. He's got a second command. I'll refer to them as one singular person in this because it does not matter. They basically do the same function. So Lakuviv is approached by...
What are these people?
These are Chiss.
Okay.
It's the Chiss planet. Selwys is a Chiss planet. I know you couldn't get it from their weird names, but these are this is their family name. All their names are gonna have L's. So Lakuviv. Yeah, I even wrote, what the fuck are these names? So Hapleaf is here. You remember Hapleaf? Hapleaf is here. He's an ag buoy.
By the way. Oh, he's an ag buoy.
They show up in that other Thrawn treason book that you didn't watch, and Thrawn ordered a bunch of stormtroopers to mercilessly slaughter all of them because they were planning on suicide bombing an Imperial officer.
And what's their deal? Do they have like head tails or
if they touch your head, they can feel your emotions. And they can get like surface level thoughts.
I was gonna say,
I think if they
I
have
feel like if I walk up to you and I touch your head, I'm gonna be able to feel your emotions. Confusion, violation, rage. Surface
Well,
level.
they
I think
say
you're going to punch me.
they touch people on the head, and that's like their custom, Ben. Or is that what they
Okay.
say? They say they're cultural nomads, Ben.
Okay.
And they found this guy Yoponek, who talks like a surfer bro. He's a chiss, Ben.
I was going to say, he sounds like a One Piece character.
So Yoponek is like, bro, my friends here, they just need some more money, bro, to help us continue our journey. And so they want to grow some spices, man. And
Are we
oh
talking
man,
cardamom?
they're sure, man. Whatever you say. And
Oregano.
look, yeah, and Lakuviv is like, okay, I guess we can do that, because Hapleaf comes off as like an idiot who doesn't know what he's doing, but he does, Ben, because he's secretly an evil bad guy. And he pulls out this jewelry. He's like, look at this jewelry. We were going to sell this too, but we wanted to first grow some more spice to see if we could sell that to continue our cultural nomad journey. But if you want, here, you can take this jewelry as a gift. And he's like, yeah, I will. Lakuviv is like, I will take that as a gift, and I will have that analyzed in secret. Perfect. So they end up taking Lamfro, the farmer's land. They confiscate some of his land. He's like, oh, God darn it. You can't just take my land. They're like, yeah, well, you don't need all of it. You're not using all of it right now. And he's like, well, that's where I graze my whatever, my bugalo or whatever from Futurama. And they're like, yeah, well, it sucks to suck. I'm letting the power of being the local magistrate go to my head, and I'm confiscating some of your land so these weird aliens can grow spice on it.
Is this spice like the drug?
Drugs? I think it's literal spices. Like
Okay.
they're growing like peppercorn or some shit, and they're selling that.
This is a bizarre side journey we've gone on.
Yeah, and so now we're going back to Admiral Aralani, Ben.
Okay.
Admiral Aralani gets a message. Oh, yeah, I should also mention, earlier, that guy, Thurfian, the guy who hates Thrawn in the Myth family, he's a syndic. He has constructed a plan to send Thrawn even further into the ass end of the galaxy. And so he sends a message to Admiral Aralani to send Thrawn back immediately, because they don't know Thrawn is going to this alien world. So, like, you know, what's going to happen there, Ben?
Can I tell the listener at this point that I was making every effort to read this, and you did not want me to read this.
Yes.
In fact, I think you purposely let me go sometime reading the wrong book.
I did not purposefully do that. I will say I looked at the thing and I was like, wait, did I read Lesser Evil? I think that's the third book. I had to look it up, Ben.
So the reason you gave me that you didn't want me to read this was because if I had read it, I would have just skipped all the irrelevant parts, as I have done with every other Thrawn book, and just cut to like what mattered to the actual plot.
And that would be like a 20-minute episode, Ben. We gotta let it ride.
Because you wanted to get two parts out of this. He said to me, guys, he said to me, if you read this, then we're only going to get one episode because you're just going to cut out everything that doesn't matter.
I'm giving you the experience of reading the book. It makes as much sense to me retelling it as it probably does to you guys. But yeah,
No, because I
Thrawn is
know how
being-
these books are written, and I know this doesn't matter.
Thrawn is being recalled, Ben, but they don't know he's currently going to an alien planet. So,
This
like, what
is
are we going to do?
I mean, this is the whole thing with them. Thrawn is always going off on some side mission he's not supposed to be going on his own authority. He's always got some protector who's shielding him from the politics and making it and smoothing everything over. And that, to be honest, that's the formula that works. Like that's the procedural
you don't like
drama
this growing
we're here for.
spices on the alien
The growing
homeworld
spices thing, it's shenanigans. It's just free writing. It's just Timothy Zahn. He has to sit down at his keyboard and he has to get out
3 of these
so many
out
pages. I got to do 16
months.
pages today. I got to do 16 pages today, and I just got to write. And we're growing spices. And the magistrate's commandeering land. Nobody likes it when you commandeer eminent domain. I read an article about that this morning. So he's gonna commandeer some spices, and then we'll come back to that next chapter. And then I mean it's the beware of chicken thing. I'll just more characters, more stuff, more plot. I don't know where to go on that plot thread, so I just imagined a little side adventure where they're growing peppercorn on Cattywampus or whatever the place was called.
Selwys, Ben. Very important place. So Admiral Arlani is like, okay, I'm going to check out this derelict base. Lakinda, who is in charge of the Grey Shrike, the other ship in this 3-ship formation, go to Rapak to find Thrawn and give him the message that he has to go back immediately. And Lakinda is like mad that I didn't get all the honors that I deserved because Thrawn's out there making a bigger name for himself. And Lakinda's part of a family that used to be part of the 40 great families, the 10 ruling families, but now there are only 9 ruling families. They fell out of favor. She's also part of the same family as Lakuviv on Selwys. And he also hates the fact that they're not a great family anymore, Ben. So
yeah, most ex-great families do.
So Lakinda is like, all right, I'm going to go there. I'm going to tell Thrawn. And so she goes there, but he's not there, Ben, because he's gone to another planet to find these aliens. And so she's like, God damn it, Thrawn. All right. Plot a course for that place. Let's go. And so she's going there. And I wrote, there's an awful lot of not Thrawn here. Because this is probably 100 pages already. So Arlani is looking at this derelict ship. Something about this base is off. It was destroyed, but they don't know how it was destroyed. That's when they realize an asteroid clump is just like it's just there. It's weird. Why is that asteroid there? It turns out this asteroid was a secret missile compartment, and it was set in motion to slowly approach this base long before General Yiv was even destroyed. Oh yeah, this derelict base is the Nickar-Dune. I should have mentioned that, even though they don't really show up in this book. So the asteroid was approaching the base, and that's how it got by the defenses. And it wasn't going to hit the base. It was going pretty slowly. No one cares about an asteroid. But then it opened up and fired missiles point blank at the base and exploded it and killed everyone. So someone out there is cleaning up the Nickar-Dune, which is both good because fuck them and bad because who's doing that? And who would have known to do this before General Yiv was even defeated? Huh? That's weird, right?
I mean, unless they had enemies who just wanted to attack them.
Well, they did try to enslave everyone in a 30.
So it seems like there's
radius.
a lot of suspects for who might want to.
Yeah, there's a lot of suspects, and there's a lot of unknowns too. Who could it have been?
Anyone. Literally anyone.
So now,
I mean, I guess you could look
after-
at the asteroid and look at the technology and figure out from there, like, did they file all the serial numbers off of all the components? And
it's been destroyed, Ben. All
Well,
the all
I
the
thought you said there's an
interior stuff
asteroid
has
there.
been destroyed. Yeah, all the. I think that that it's like a clump of I can't remember exactly. I think it was something that like self-destructed, or I don't know. I can't remember exactly how they figured it out. It's a weird looking thing that shouldn't be there. The mechanism itself has been destroyed. The asteroid was a facade around the missile launcher, and the missile
did
launcher
they
is gone.
find any of the crew's like children's drawings to give to Thrawn?
They did not. This is gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. There's some more shenanigans on board Thrawn's ship. Not involving Thrawn, by the way. He's left out of a lot of the shenanigans, and then they arrive on to that alien's home world, and he's like, okay, I can't just keep calling this alien's home world, and like Nate's gonna do a podcast about this in a few years. He can't keep calling it that. Magus, what do you call your world? And she's like, we don't tell that to outsiders. My voice is annoying. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna call it Sunrise. That's just the name of it now. That's the name of your home world. You don't get a name anymore.
This is a cult, right? Like, this isn't the survivors of this species. This is just like one cult that left. Like, the reason they survived is because they were kicked out.
Well, the world is pretty devastated, Ben. But also, there's a bunch of gunboats here. There's a bunch of gunboats. Why are they here? And they're flying at Thrawn's ship. And he's like, oh shit, there's like 10
Hang
of
on
them.
just 1 second.
Okay.
Hello? Oh boy.
Living the dream?
Yeah. They didn't tell me they were doing that tonight.
So Thrawn's got gunboats on him, Ben. Why
Oh,
are
I
these
feel like
gunboats here?
Have I missed something? Did you describe stuff while I was gone?
No.
Okay.
I picked up exactly where we left off. He's at Sunrise, which is that Civil War planet. And there's gunboats here. Why are there gunboats? That's weird. And they're like, huh, I think they know about Chiss tactics. Because first of all, I moved into firing range. They haven't fired on us. They know we can't fire on them unless fired upon first. Anyway, launch a missile. And so the gunboats move and then destroy the missile. And they're like, they knew about that because the missiles have acid in it. So they knew that they had to get a certain range out before shooting the missile. And they're like, okay, so they know about Chiss armaments and battle tactics because they're far enough out that we can't hit them all with a missile, but they're clustered enough that if we fired plasma spheres, they could move in and tank the hit for a bigger ship. And they're like, but where could that bigger ship be? And then a bigger ship comes from around the other side of the planet. He's like, okay. So, Thrawn, what's your plan? My plan is we're going to run away, right? We don't have to be here. We know they're here. We can just
Not
come
even
back
supposed
with...
to be here.
Yeah, we can
Shouldn't
come back
be
with
here,
some more
arguably.
ships, I guess. And but that's when Lakinda jumps into the system on the other side of the giant ship. And Thrawn's like, well, shit. That kind of complicates things. So they come up with a plan to disable the gunships. And then they also do a bunch of damage to this giant dreadnought ship and force it to retreat. And the day is saved, and
Who are we
like,
fighting?
We don't know. Why were they here? That's weird.
Why were you here?
because this is the Magus's home planet. Why were
Do
they
you
here?
know that? Do you know that this
Yes.
Magus wasn't just some weird suicide cult leader that was lying to you?
Well, everyone else seems to agree that this is her home planet. So
What do you mean
anyway,
everyone else? The 300 cultists?
yeah, the handful that came with her, yeah.
There's a lot of unchecked boxes here.
So anyway, we're here on her home planet, which is confirmed because Timothy Zahn told me it was. And we're like, well, we need to investigate, like, what the fuck all that was. But we don't, like, Lakinda's like, yeah, but you don't have time to do that because you have to be withdrawn back to the Syndicure because they're going to send you on another mission. And he's like, damn it. So what are we going to do? What are we going to tell them about this whole thing here, Thrawn? And Thrawn's like, that is an interesting question. I'm just not going to say what I did here. Because I don't have to.
Wait, so he's telling the person who rescued him that he doesn't have to explain what he was doing here?
To the Syndicure, yeah. He informs her what was going on to his knowledge. But, yeah, we're just not going to tell them that we got in a little fight.
You're... Yeah. I don't fully understand that aspect of Thrawn thinking he can... Like, you must be really bad at politics because, you know, like when a warship of a sovereign nation attacks random people...
We're going to say we were attacked first, so we were within our right to defend ourselves.
You were attacked first because you weren't supposed to be there.
Yeah. Or were we? An alien
That's like
race...
marching...
alien told us we needed to help her out, so we
Thrawn
brought
is
our
adopting
warship
the
here.
classic Putin strategy of I marched my army into the territory and they started shooting at us.
Yeah, so we're the good guys. Exactly.
Kind of works for Putin, I guess.
Meanwhile, back in the past, Hapleaf is integrating himself into Chiss society. He and his partner have to find a Chiss who will help them out. Meanwhile, they're at a bar listening and they hear the next booth over, a surfer bro is talking with his girlfriend. And they're on
I've
their...
just been really thinking about getting into spices lately. Like I was thinking like oregano, cardamom, cumin. And then like I don't hold out. Time. Time
So yeah.
is going to be the future.
So they're taking a gap year. This is a thing in Chiss society. They take a gap year before they go to their final schooling.
Yeah, it's a
and
thing in
they
Yuppie
take that
society
gap
as
year to
well.
wander around the Ascendancy.
Chiss Rumspringa.
and Hapleaf is like, hey, that's great because we're cultural nomads. We could really use a guide, and in exchange, we'll pay for everything. And Yoponek is like, bruh! But his girlfriend is not amused, and they're like, okay, how about these ornate brooches that we happen to have on us? See? Aren't they fancy? Wouldn't you like a fancy brooch? I was going to save those brooches for, like local officials and whatnot as subtle bribes, but, I guess you can have one to convince you. And let me touch your head. It's our custom to touch people's heads.
I just want to touch your head. I just want to get a feel for like where you're at right now, what kind of headspace you're in, and like, would you be receptive to a business proposition? Because
her name is Yomi. And spoiler alert, she's not in the present time, so something bad's going to happen to her.
Oh no.
And she wants to go watch a planet-wide bird migration that's going to be happening soon. And
Oh, Yomi, that's like really boring. Did you know
the
birds can't even
Agbui
eat
are like, yeah, we
spices?
can do that.
We can do
We can
what?
do that. We
We can
we
do
can
what?
join you
Watch birds?
on that bird watching for an entire month.
You're spice
And
farming.
that doesn't happen yet. You're getting ahead of us, Ben. This is in the past.
Wait, the spice
He
farming's in the future?
Yeah, yes.
He's farming spice real time?
Yeah, yes, and we're exploring memories of him meeting Yoponek.
Look, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I got called in the middle of this, Nate, for a lot of reasons. You're not allowed to leave any of that in. But I'm sending emails to work right now. I'm kind of like half listening. And but wow, I can't believe we're actually like, I can't believe that's the current. Can you imagine if Palpatine, maybe that's where he was. Maybe that's how he came back.
Somehow he returned with spice.
Somehow he returned from his alpaca ranch in New Mexico. Like, what the fuck? Okay, yeah, continue.
So yeah, right in the past, they're gonna go watch a bird migration, and the Agbui are they're trying to get an angle here because Yomi doesn't like her head being touched, and she also doesn't like the Agbui, and they're also using this time to study up on Chiss culture, and they think they have an angle. They're going to use Yoponek to take them to a planet called Selwis, and then they're going to like meet with a local magistrate, and then they're gonna, because he was part of a former ruling family house, and so they're also allied with a current ruling family house, and so that might be our best chance to start some kind of civil war. Let's go do that. But Yomi is like, how dare you want to do anything other than this bird migration? I've been looking forward to this bird migration my entire life. And Yoponek is like, bruh, like, we'll only miss a few days of the migration. And she's like, fuck everyone. We're not missing a second of this great bird migration.
Oh, damn, Yomi, you are like really being kind of like a square right now. You're kind of really like dampening the mood. Do you maybe want to quit dampening the mood?
No, actually not. So the Agbui are like, okay, we need an angle, and we haven't been able to touch her head as much, so we
So
don't
real
know as much
quick,
about her.
who the fuck cares about Yomi? Why do we need Yomi?
Hey, it's Ed or Nate, and listening back to this, even I'm a little confused. I'm like describing this to Ben as if he should just know that the two of them are betrothed, and that the Agbui, sorry, they're not Grisk. The Agbui need these two to gather information on the Chiss and then find an opening and use these guys to get an introduction with some sort of low ranking, like a city councilman almost, not even a governor, or a mayor. Might be a better way of describing him. And we're going to get to that, and I am going to say that here in a little bit, but it's driving me nuts that I haven't already said that. We don't actually need Yomi, we just need one of these guys. And the two of them are betrothed, which is why they can't just use Yoponek, because he's not going to go anywhere without Yomi. Yomi wears the pants in this relationship, and she wants to go bird watching. So if you're confused, don't worry. I was confused listening to myself because I'm clearly talking to Ben as if he has information that he actually doesn't have yet. So that's a whoopsie. But I'm leaving it all in because this is the Star Wars Thrawn greater good experience. At least through my eyes.
So we need an angle on this Yomi, all right? And so, like, God, how do we... Like, we can't touch her head as much as we can touch Yoponek's head. How are we going to get this angle on her? And
Talk
this is
to
all
her.
throughout the book.
You fucking
No, well,
freaks.
she hates us. She doesn't want to talk with us. But we know that she's family-oriented, so why don't we fake a wedding, Ben?
What?
Why don't we have a fake wedding between
Like-
you and me, the Agbui, and
We're
that
gonna
will
get
like
married?
soften her disposition towards us. Spoiler
So-
alert, it does not actually do that.
Quick question. So the plan. We're on a trip with somebody who's going bird watching, and we mentioned to the bird watcher that we wanted to take a brief detour to start a civil war. And she was like,
We didn't tell her we
"No."
want to start a civil
Oh,
war.
Okay.
We want you to introduce us to this guy so we can grow our spices.
Okay, so they need her to introduce them to somebody.
Yeah.
That's why they need her.
Well, they need either her or Yoponek, but Yoponek won't leave without her, and she wants to go bird watching.
Why won't Yoponek leave without her?
Because they're engaged. They're betrothed.
Okay. So we're thinking maybe if we get gay married,
Yes.
they'll have to buy us a gift.
If we get gay married, even though
And
they
that
are
gift-
man and woman, if we do that, she'll soften her disposition towards us, and then we can convince her to introduce us to this guy on Selwys so we can grow our spices.
Okay, I'm gonna get a seltzer. You keep talking.
All right, I think Ben going to get seltzers is the perfect place for us to stop. And I have to re-record this entire ending part because my stupid computer thought that it should record through the webcam that I should just unplug because I don't use. Anyway, be like Ben. Go grab yourself a seltzer. Stay hydrated and a little inebriated because that's really what I'm banking on to get people back for part 2. You're not going to come back to part 2 unless you're intoxicated or at the very least a little tipsy. And so I really need you to do me a solid and go get an alcoholic seltzer or 2 or 3, just enough to lubricate your mouth and also the old brain noodle. And you come back here and then you listen to part 2 and you're already part way through knowing what you need to know with the rancher and the Ag Buoy and the flashback Ag Buoy and Thrawn and how does this all tie together? That's what you gotta be wondering. That's the mystery that we're going to have going into part 2 because I need a hook for part 2. I really need a hook for part 2. If you want to listen to brain, if you want to listen to Ben's brain give up and shut down partway through a podcast, you won't want to miss next part. You won't want to miss it. So, as always, I thank you to all of our patrons. I know, if you are not a patron, you're wondering why anyone would pay money to us after listening to this episode, but you know what? You should jump on the bandwagon. You should also go to our Patreon and also join in because they know something you don't clearly and you don't want to look like a fool. And the people who looked like the least foolish of all are $10 patrons who we thank each and every time that we do a Words About Books podcast. You've got Jacob Lansky doing whatever the fuck he wants, motherfucker. We've got Jamie, the Gravy Man, from ifyouwantthegravy.wordpress.com. who has finally decided that he will review anything and everything except for books. He's finally done with books. We finally got him. John Bierce, author of The Mage Errant, and also The City That Will Eat the World, and also the Wabi Award-winning The Rack. Then you got Isekai Sensei Sama from That Time I Got Reincarnated in the Same World as an Anime Podcaster podcast. Is Thrawn an isekai? It's probably someone's isekai, right? You get to ride around as the captain of an Imperial Star Destroyer and then eventually an admiral. Who wouldn't want to be, well, anyway. And Shy, Spooky Shy, Shy with a Y, over on TikTok and also, I guess, at the Harrisburg Improv Theater. Yeah, we did it. Successful completion of an episode. So go grab your seltzer, and I will definitely see you back here next week. At least for like 5 minutes. Give us the view and then you can leave. Alright? That's all I have. On the next exciting episode of Words About Books, Star Wars, Thrawn Ascendancy, The Greater Good, Part 2, It's some sort of animal.
I want to step in and co-host here. I want to break this up a little bit, but I don't want to prolong it.
Anyway, the rancher, Ben, he gets
this
one of
can't
those.
be relevant. How often are we going to cut back to the rancher?
And this note just says, "This plot fucking sucks. I'm sorry, I don't care." Anyway, so we're back at Thrawn.